Rock that on the track, boy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. As you can see, we're back together again. We had Javo on hiatus. He was doing very important things, but he's back now. So glad to have you back, Javo.
I'm glad to be back, especially for this show. Very in
So
particular.
yeah, I
We'll
mean,
get into that.
especially it feels like it's been a lot longer that you've been gone than you actually have. But
Yeah.
yeah, because a lot's happened. As you can know, the NBA Finals has been decided. In the finals matchup, we got a Golden State and the Boston Celtics. So I guess let's start. Let's kick things off with. So just as a whole, what do you think of the this year's NBA playoffs?
Well, hey, Javo, I'll let you go. You go first.
Well, honestly, if truth be told, remember how you always a lot of people used to say the West is stronger than the East. Well, not anymore. The East, honestly, all the excitement has been in the East this year. All the excitement. You had matchups like the Celtics versus Nets, Celtics versus Bucks, the Celtics versus Heat, the Heat versus Sixers. All of that just been so exciting to me, and just especially watching the Celtics team do what they did night in night out. To they swept the Nets. They went to Game 7 with the Bucks. They went to Game 7 with the Heat, and it's just crazy to me how Tatum, Jalen Brown, Marcus Smart, all them boys down in Boston are just ready. Like they look like they're playoff bets. I know Marcus Smart is a playoff bet, but this entire Celtics core, which is comprised of young guys, they look like they're ready to win it all. And honestly, I'm still a little high on the Warriors winning it, but I'm just saying the Warriors fans, you guys better be ready because they're gonna come at you hard. And then yeah,
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know.
listen, most definitely. I tell you this, I'm still right with my Warriors in six. I'm not wavering from my pick. I'm still staying with the Warriors, but I will say this: that matchup is like I would rather have seen somebody else for them, but I still think they could get through Boston with the experience that they have, the shooting, the offense that they got. I know Boston played great defense, but still, I mean that experience matters. I mean, you just gotta, that experience does matter. And yeah, the playoffs been pretty great. I will say the East matchups have been a little bit better. As far as the level of competition and the games being a little bit closer and the series going a little longer. So yeah, maybe the East is coming, the youth is catching up over there on the East. And the West, the West is starting to get a little older. So, I can see where you're coming from with that, but the West is going to win it this year.
We'll see.
Warriors in six.
I mean, it went to the East last year. It could go right back to the East this year.
All right. Well, as everyone knows, I'm the resident Celtics fan. I've been on them, the whole playoffs. Um, so basically, yeah, I got the Celtics winning this. I mean, basically to what Jay said. Just to elaborate a little bit more on that, yeah, I think it's a really tough matchup for Golden State. Like a lot tougher than the fans and maybe even Golden State realizes.
Oh yeah.
Boston matches up against them very well. They Boston plays very well, plays perimeter defense very well, plays just defense very well. So it's going to be interesting because you have Golden State's offense, which is good, and then going up against Boston's elite defense. So it's going to be which gives, but I don't know. I just think overall, like from a matchup standpoint, I think Boston really has the matchups to take advantage of that. Like I don't trust Kaminga and Moody in pressure situations and clutch situations, especially like that's like you're gonna trust two 19-year-olds, two 20-year-olds, in this situation. I don't know. I don't trust that. Like beyond Curry, beyond Clay, Curry, and Poole, there isn't much else in Golden State. Like, are you really gonna take Looney and whoever the other big is in Golden State over Time Lord and Horford? Like, no,
Draymond,
I'm taking
Zach,
Time Lord and Horford.
Zach, Dray. So we just gonna gloss over Draymond Green, the other big. We just gonna sit there and act like
I don't think you
Draymond
meant.
Green.
I don't think you was
Come
talking about
on,
Draymond
man.
Green. I think you're talking about Draymond Green though.
I'm not talking about Draymond Green.
Oh, but you say the other big. The other big is Draymond Green, though.
I guess, but yeah, Draymond's not really that big, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
but
I
Draymond
get it.
plays
Yeah,
big though.
Draymond. Don't get
He
me wrong.
plays big.
Draymond is definitely a beast, and he's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I really think Boston can give Golden State a very tough time. A lot tougher than Golden State may realize. I think also. I mean, I know everyone's kind of banged up this time of year, obviously, so health will be a thing. If I feel like too, if Golden State, if Clay tweaks something, if Curry tweaks something, if Draymond tweaks something, that's gonna be a whole different Golden State team. Losing one of those is gonna be far more drastic than if we lose Marcus Smart or Tatum for a couple games in the series. So I don't know. I just like the matchups. I think it's gonna be a very similar game plan from that Boston used against Brooklyn in their series, because Brooklyn has two great perimeter scorers in Kyrie and KD, and you saw what they did to them. So I think that they're gonna use they're obviously gonna adjust to Golden State and what Golden State has, but you might see a very similar game plan that they used against Brooklyn against Golden State. So also, this is probably the best defensive team Golden State has faced in quite a long time. So it'll be interesting to see how well they actually fare. Yes, your offense can look good against teams that aren't as good, in the bottom 15 defensively, but can it look good against does it look the same against the number one defensive team in the league? So we'll see. Either way, it's going to be a great series. It's If it works out how I think it'll work out, it should be one of the all-time great final series. So, I mean,
So Boston in 4.
yes, the fan of me
Six.
wants to say Boston in 4, Boston in 5. Probably, honestly, to be realistic, it's probably Boston in 6.
Boston
I
is
would,
sick.
I would say Boston in 6. Realistically,
Golden
I
State.
think
Golden State's getting the first 2 at home. Watch what I tell you.
no way.
Watch
Boston's a
what I tell you.
very good
Honestly,
road.
if Golden State loses the first two,
Kerr. Listen. Don't underestimate Kerr in that offense, man. Don't underestimate.
I don't
Bos-
underestimate them. I'm not
Boston has
underestimating them.
played against Milwaukee. Milwaukee's not a 3-point shooting team.
Milwaukee is fucking Giannis,
But
one of the
what
best
I'm
players
saying
in the
is,
NBA.
no, listen. They're
Top
not a
3 NBA
3-point shooting
player.
team.
They
They're
have a
not.
good team. They're great defensively.
Listen,
Milwaukee is probably just as good of a defensive team as Golden State.
listen. Golden State has the best 2 shooters probably in the history. I put Curry number 1, Clay number 4 in the top 5 of best shooters all time.
Well, Curry's obviously the best shooter of all time, without
I've
a
seen,
doubt.
listen,
Curry's the best.
honestly, I don't think that.
I've seen Curry catch fire to the point to where it doesn't matter what type of defense you put on him. You can push up on him. When that man is on fire, it doesn't matter what you do.
Listen, but Boston got one of those guys too. They got a guy named Tatum, and when he catches
Listen,
fire,
no. Tatum is more like a Kobe. If he can get in that zone, I give you that. He can get in that zone and take over a game. But I've seen. Listen, Curry's done went up against the goats before in LeBron, and they won.
They also lost.
they also
Without KD the
yeah,
first
They
time.
also
that too.
lost, and they also
No, you're right.
lost down up
Right.
3-1.
Yeah.
They were up 3-1 in that series and lost to LeBron. Don't
Hey,
forget about that.
hey, that's LeBron's
And the
great.
other time that Curry beat LeBron, he had a guy named Kevin Durant on his team,
Yep.
who was
KD.
probably the best player on that.
To me, KD took away from Curry's. He took away from Curry to me with those championships.
So here's an interesting question for you. If let's say Golden State wins. Let's say on the off chance that they actually somehow do win. I don't think it's going to happen. But how does this affect KD's legacy?
I don't think it will. What's there to affect?
What you mean?
We're talking about Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
If Golden State wins this Same.
wins a championship with
K-
after he left without him and he didn't win a championship. Yeah, how is this
This
going to
doesn't
affect
affect
his
because
legacy?
we already knew that the Warriors before KD, we already knew that they were a championship team with or without KD. So to me,
exactly.
this don't change. I think this don't affect. This just clarifies what we already knew about Kevin Durant.
No, wait,
He
no.
was doing.
I'll tell you like this. To me, KD has to win one without by hit with away from Golden State. He has to. If not, then that to me to go to a team, the best team that didn't need you, that could win a championship without you, and basically all you did was just make it to where they're gonna win for sure. That doesn't that I mean, what does that really show about KD? He has to win, and I loved KD before he did that, and I'm back with him now that he with Brooklyn. But he has to win one. He has to me
Yeah,
to
but we
to
already knew
to solidify those rings. He has to.
I agree,
He has
especially if
to.
especially if Golden State wins this finals. Yeah, he definitely
Exactly.
has to do that,
He has to.
for sure. Because otherwise, it's just going to be the knock. Like, yeah, he has two finals
Ex-
trophies, but he joined the Golden State
the best
Warriors. You
team.
know,
Yeah, the best
he
team.
joined. He joined. Yeah, that's like someone joining. That's like, oh yeah, fucking this person has three Super Bowl rings, but they also played for the Patriots. Like
Yeah.
they want to join the. So it's just like it's the same concept. So yeah,
He's great,
definitely think.
man. He's great, and I love KD. Like I said, I was off him when while he was with Golden State. I did not like KD.
me and
As
you
soon
both.
as he went to Brooklyn, I was back with KD. But he gotta win one.
So we know KD's rooting for Boston in this series. He's like beat Golden State. He's like beat Golden State. So then I get the upper hand. So then it shows, oh hey, they don't win the last two without me. You
Exactly.
know.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. So what did y'all think of that game 7 though, guys?
That
Boston,
was
Miami.
I don't.
it was
I
a
have
good
no.
game.
I have no words.
I
I
mean, the
saw
Heat
Jimmy Butler
definitely.
do what Jimmy Butler was made to do.
Yeah, big props to Jimmy Butler. Like he played his ass off when it mattered most in Game 6 and Game 7. He played his ass off. He played 46 minutes in Game 6 and played all 48 in Game 7.
Yeah.
Like he's not young either. He's 30, 32, 33 years old. Like yeah, so he played his ass off. So big props, shout out to Jimmy Butler for that. That was an MVP performance, like right there. That's a championship performance. That's an MVP performance on his part. I think the Miami Heat definitely they got exposed. Like
Yeah.
a lot of their holes and problems show up. Like they need more than Jimmy Butler. They need another true.
He did a
They
true
don't
star
they
or a
don't
true.
need a superstar, but they need another true star to play alongside Jimmy Butler.
Heroes coming.
Hero is up and
Well,
coming,
he
yeah,
can't. He wasn't here in that series.
but
Yeah.
Hero's not gonna make a Harden level jump from six
He
man of
can't
the
he
year
has
to
to
25 points per game.
he got to get better at defending though, because every time that he was in the game, Boston went right at him though. I see you
Oh
notice
yeah,
that? He got to get better defending. They went right at him.
yeah they did. Yes, they did. So
But
yeah, I
yeah,
mean
I
the Heat
thought Butler.
definitely. I don't know. They played well. They but it was very clear a lot of that series that Boston was the better team. I think that series was a lot longer than it should have been
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
feel Boston kind of beat themselves in a couple of those games with all the turnovers. Because you can't turn the ball over 30 plus times and win a
Boston,
game.
Boston got
So
a habit of getting up and kind of, to me, they start launching a bunch of threes and they start getting
well,
lackadaisical.
you end up playing, yeah, because you end up playing different when you get a lead. Like
Yeah,
you play differently to once you have the lead than you did to gain the lead. So you
yeah.
kind of, yeah, I get what you're saying though. They kind of go through spurts where they're
They
like,
got to
oh, okay,
clean
we
that
got to
up.
play again.
Got to
Yeah,
clean that up.
that's the mark of them being a young team. Like that shows the youth. Like, okay, yeah, they definitely could clean that up. They will clean that up. That's something that'll get cleaned up in the future. They won't keep doing that. But yeah, they got to close out games. But it was good to see them. Like, yeah, it got sticky at the end there, but it was good to see Boston close out Game 7 because they had a lot of games where they had a big lead and blew the big lead.
Yeah,
Um, but that was also from stupid mistakes, like stupid fouls, turnovers, all that. So, as long as they can keep that down, they're in good shape.
Yeah.
But they're a really good team. They've been, like I said, they've been the best team in the NBA since December, and they've definitely shown it. I mean, they've had a very magical playoff run. I mean, and to the side of if the Celtics win, like Tatum's instantly a superstar, and he's gonna go down
I was like,
as this is gonna be one of the greatest playoff runs for anyone because look at who he faced in the playoffs. He faced KD and Kyrie in round one, swept them. He faced Giannis in round two, beat him in 7 games. Faced Jimmy Butler. Like those are all bona fide stars and superstars in the NBA. Like those are all top 20 NBA players currently. Like most of those are top 10. But yeah, so
to me, he's already a superstar. But to me, this if winning this championship will bump him up to the next GOAT talk, like of the NBA. That you know what I mean. Put him the next talk for the
like,
next 10
who's the
years as the
best?
best player
Yeah,
in the
he'll be like,
NBA. Yeah.
yeah, for
I
sure.
think that's what this does. If he wins it, that's what that does to him. It
I'll,
it automatically votes him over Luca to me, which he already over Luca. But I see some people put Luca over him, but it votes him over Luca to me.
He's a much better. Well, Lucas doesn't play much defense. Like
Yeah.
that's part of like that's another reason why I think just kind of to sidebar, but that's why I think a better comparison, like for people, like I don't get why people compare Luka to Tatum and all that. Like he's not similar to them. Like game style, they're very different. Skill set, like they're both young studs. I think
Luca's
they're both
more the
great, and I
facility.
think they're both gonna be superstars, and they're both gonna be great. And they're both gonna have amazing careers. I think both of them are just absolutely amazing. The NBA is in great hands, with both of them.
Luca Dirk, Tatum, Black Mamba.
you can't do that. You can't do it.
Black Mamba.
I don't
I
care.
think
I'm
Luca's.
do that. You can't
Hey,
compare a Celtics player to a Lakers player.
how?
You can't do that.
That man, listen, that man is
Tatum's like favorite player and his idol is
yeah,
Kobe.
that's his favorite. Hey, that's young Mamba right there.
I mean, he even shouted out Kobe like when he was when he accepted the Larry Bird
Yeah,
award.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. Texting Kobe before the game.
Oh yeah. Nah, he loved Kobe. He
You
was.
see, you seen the purple and gold. And listen,
I
you see,
mean, I mean, definitely yesterday there were flashes of it. Like that shot that he took, where he took the mid range shot where he spun one way and then spun back around and shot
and
it.
he
Like
and he didn't travel.
yeah,
Here we
he
go.
didn't travel, but still,
Luca would have
but
tried
that
this.
was Kobe esque right there. Like that
Yeah,
shot
yeah,
from Tatum. Like I'm like, okay, that's something like Kobe would do. Like you can definitely see the Kobe influence in Tatum's game
yeah. Oh yeah,
for sure.
oh yeah. Listen, Jabo. Before we move on,
Oh,
his patented move is a travel. I'm
hey
sorry.
man. Hey, listen. Call it what you want. If the
He
refs
gets
don't
in
call,
that lane. Listen, look at it every single time he gets in the lane and he does the up and under all them fakes. He travels his ass off.
I don't
Yeah,
know. Tell you
everyone
the refs
travels.
not seeing it.
No, no, you're right.
Everyone in the NBA
Everyone, listen,
travels. Jordan traveled.
everyone.
You know who cares about traveling?
I do.
6-year-olds and AAU coaches. Like that's who cares about fucking
Listen,
traveling. Other than
listen.
that, like
Hey,
it's part
Luca,
of the
Luca will tell
NBA.
you
So
pro
does
move.
There's an it's not like yeah, obviously they call people for traveling, but yeah,
so
you
does
can
Tatum
take a
travel?
couple steps in the NBA.
Does Tatum travel? I'm talking about does Tatum
Everyone
travel
travels.
consistently,
Everyone travels.
not consistently.
Is the Euro step not a travel?
Is it depends on who's doing it.
Is the
Ginobili
Euro
it wasn't
step
a travel.
is the Euro step not a travel?
When
No.
Ginobili did it wasn't a travel. That's not a travel.
But it seems like how everyone does it now, it's just a travel.
Harden travels when he does it.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone
Hey,
travels.
people say it's a pro move, man. Harden will tell
All
you it's
right,
a pro.
all right. Before we move on to what we going to the verses, right?
Hold on. I just wanted to say, like, I think Luca is amazing and unquestioned Dude, the kid's 23 years old, and look at what he's accomplished and what he's
Better
done.
than Tatum.
Yeah, like he's definitely offensively, he's there. Like he's got to improve. He's got to get a little bit more physical. He's got to put more effort in on the defensive side of the ball. But he's definitely, dude. I compare him more
You
to
agree,
a
Zach?
James Harden, but he's more Harden than James Harden, if that makes sense. Because
Do
like
you
James
agree
Harden
with?
took a few years to ascend,
Do
whereas
you
Luka
agree,
kind of
Zach?
was just like bam.
Do you agree?
What?
Do you agree with what Jabo said?
What did Javo say?
I said he's better than Tatum.
They're
He is
different players. I
different.
mean,
I'm not
I
talking about
give
playing
the
style.
edge to Tatum because Tatum's a better defensive. Like Tatum actually plays defense. Tatum's a better two-way
We're
player.
Well, I'm
Luca kind of is. Luca's kind of lazy on
Kawhi's a better
defense.
two-way
Doesn't put
player. I
effort
don't think
in.
he's better than LeBron.
you
Like
scared. Listen, hear me now.
Luca, I will give the edge to offensively. Luca is a much better offensive player, but as an overall basketball player, no. Jason Tatum is a much better overall
Off,
basketball player.
offensive player, you would give it to Luca?
I
Absolutely,
would.
dude. So look at the shots. Look at
Out
some
for
of the
himself,
shots
like
that Luca
SJ
makes.
No.
No words.
Listen, Luca's a good playmaker, facilitator of the offense. He ain't. He's not. Listen.
He scores the
He's not
ball.
a type of player. Listen, Luca is not the type of player like a Kobe Bryant, like an Allen Iverson, like a Michael Jordan that just says, "Give me the ball and move out the way." Luca's not doing that.
Have you seen Luca play?
No, I've seen Luca play.
When the ball goes in the
When
back,
he does do that, when he does do that, they lose the series. He's not doing it like Tatum. He's not, Tatum.
well, I'm
Listen,
sorry. Listen,
did you see Game 6 versus the Bucks? Did you see that game?
that's
Luca's
not
not
right.
doing. Luca's not doing that.
Okay, but okay. So I'm
Did
a,
you see? Did you
let's
see
be
Game
real.
7 against the Suns?
Man, the Suns got listen.
Let's look, Jay. Let's be honest here. If I think the Celtics could go farther if Luke was on the Celtics in place of Tatum.
Oh, come on. Come on.
I, honestly, let's be honest. You can put Tatum on the Mavs. Tatum gonna
Listen,
put Luka.
I
You
mean,
put Luka
I
on
gotta
the Mavs.
say,
Put Luka.
honestly, to be honest, kind of to better say what Javo said, the Celtics get to the finals and win the finals a lot sooner if they have Luka instead of Tatum. But I think both, like I said, I think both are great, and I think they're both different players, different style players, have different skill sets. Again, like I said, to me, Luka's more of a younger, better James Harden. Like Luka to me is more James Harden than James Harden was James Harden. Like his game style, how he plays, like he doesn't even try on defense. Like same like James Harden, you know. The thing is though, is Luka can play defense. He just has to put the effort in. He's got to get better conditioned. That's going to come with age. That's going to come with experience. I think Luka's going to only get better. Like I really do, and I think that's going to be. I think that's the scariest thing about Luka.
Tatum, listen, Tatum is going to. He's already showing flashes. Tatum is going to show y'all
For sure.
the Black Mamba.
For sure. I
He
think
is
they're going to
going to
be.
show y'all Black Mamba.
I think if we look 5 years from now, Luka and Tatum are 1 and 2 unanimously.
And Luka's
However you rank them, it doesn't matter how you rank them. Like,
Y'all
but
forgetting about
those
a
are
guy called
Luka and
Ja.
Tatum are going to be the top two
who?
players
Y'all
in the
forgetting
NBA.
about a man named Ja.
I
That's
didn't
all I'm saying.
I
Y'all forgetting about a man named Ja.
I didn't forget
Listen, I bash Luka. I'll give him his props. Luka is good. I know I bash Luka. I just don't like. I'll tell you why I don't like Luka. Number one, he
Travel.
travels too much. That's number one. And he's a fucking shit talker. And
What's wrong with talking?
way too much shit talking. Way too. He's overly. He does it overly to me.
Yeah,
Like
but he
people
can back
get
it
I don't know
up.
what that means. Listen.
no, he didn't back it up against Golden State when they were
So,
up. He was
so
all
do
that
you
shit
not?
talking,
So then, do you
and then
not
they
Larry
asked, and
Bird
then
for the
they
shit
asked, "Got listen
talking?
the fuck up."
Because Larry Bird talked a lot of shit. Do you knock Larry Bird for the shit talking?
Yeah, but Larry Bird backed it up with championships.
And
Yeah,
Luka's
Luka's
getting his money.
23 years old.
All right, I'll tell you this. My top three is Tatum, Ja, Luka. He's in the top three. I put him in the top three.
How's Luka though?
I put him in the top three, but he's three. Ja's better than me. I'm taking
How's he
Ja
better
and I'm taking Tatum.
for
For
doing
me,
one
a
good thing in
question
1 year?
with Ja. For me, of those three, Ja has the most questions. Talent wise, Ja's right up there. Don't get me wrong. He's going to be a top 3, top 5 player 5 years from now. But it's his health. If he can stay healthy, does he have the longevity? Luka and Tatum have a lot more longevity than John Morant does.
Yeah,
Because is Ja kind of gonna be like, end up like, do the injuries catch up with him and he kind of ends up like John Wall, Derrick Rose, or does he end up more like a Russell Westbrook and having a long illustrious career? So that's another good versus right there too, Ja or Russ.
yeah. All right, all right, all right. What we got? What we got next?
All right, so I guess first up on the docket for these verses, I guess we'll go. I'll start us out with the less blockbuster one first. So let's go with all right, PG-13 versus T-Mac.
I love this one. I personally love this one.
This is a good one. This is very good. This is a low-key good one.
I'm gonna go first.
Go ahead.
And I'm
gonna
gonna
tackle this first.
I'm gonna try to keep it. I'm gonna try to keep mine short and sweet because this is an easy one for me.
I'll go last because I think I already know how this is gonna go, and I'll be the tiebreaker.
This is an easy one for me.
Why is it so easy for you?
Because I watched both, and T-Mac. Listen, you might have been too young for T-Mac, Javo.
I watched the highlights. I went in and I watched the highlights and some of the full games. I see what he does. I also know the history behind T-Mac. But go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
Paul George, listen, Paul George. Maybe with Indiana, you can put him as he was the best player, but really they had a good team, which helped him.
Yeah. I mean, Danny Granger was on that team.
Exactly. He's never been the guy. If you
was the guy in Indiana.
If you look at his career, he never was the guy. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I would definitely argue. I mean, you could definitely argue in Indiana, especially in the early days in Indiana in his career, he was, before his leg injury, he was the number one option in Indiana.
But But to me, Indiana had a good team. They were good. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Without him, they would have been tough. Without
they didn't have
Orlando days.
Those Indiana teams. They were scrappy. I wouldn't necessarily say that they were good. They were they had great role players. Like, they had a lot of good role players. They were scrappy teams. Those teams were never going to win a championship, but they can definitely cause some damage in the playoffs.
A lot better supporting cast than what he has now.
What?
A lot better supporting cast than what he has now.
No way, he is Kawhi Leonard.
No.
How? He has one other player. The rest of that trash around him.
Name one other player on the Indiana team. Hold on.
I'm taking Roy. I'm taking Roy Hibbert over your boy Zubac.
Taking over Zubac.
Are you going to take George Hill over Reggie Jackson?
Who?
George Hill
over Reggie Jackson? Hell yeah.
Why?
Reggie Jackson is garbage.
No, he's not.
Reggie Jackson is trash.
I don't like the Reggie
He
Jackson.
Is garbage. Reggie Jackson is garbage.
He's not garbage.
So is Scott Pollard.
No, leave Reggie Jackson alone.
But anyways, let's go back to it. Anyways.
So, just to sum that up, that Paul George is arguably a number one option on those.
Okay, but T-Mac on any team, that's the number one option. Other than before when he was with Toronto, he just wasn't playing. He didn't play his game. He was letting his cousin Vince Carter get all the shine.
He was still young.
He had it in him. No, it ain't the better one. It ain't the better one because once he went over to Orlando, he showed who the better cousin was. He showed who was the better cousin was.
Did he really? What he do in Orlando?
What you mean?
I don't know. What he do in Orlando?
T-Mac took that team and flipped it around.
What did T-Mac do besides win scoring titles?
Took that team and flipped it around. When has Paul George ever won a scoring title? When has Paul George ever won a scoring title? Never.
Point though.
Ever.
Who win the scoring title? I don't put you anywhere.
Listen, Paul George did not have. Paul George has nice offensive skills. I would say he probably does one thing better than T-Mac, and that's defend. That's it.
Who? He does two things
better. What's that?
He also shoots free throws at a higher percentage than T-Mac.
Here we
And
go.
that isn't free throws.
We talking about free
You need to
throws.
be better. You need to be good free throws should be in the game,
So we
right?
talking about free throws right now.
I mean,
So we talking
Paul
about free throws.
list. Let's
So LeBron.
Paul
So
George.
Paul George better than LeBron because he shoot better free throws. Paul George better than LeBron because he shoot better free throws. I'm just saying.
That's not my
All right,
argument. That's
all
not
right,
my
all right. So to that point,
that's
so
not
Jay's saying T Mac, Javo's saying PG 13.
No, because listen, T Mac. Listen, if you watch T Mac, T Mac was one of those type of players, like I said, that can put a team on his back, a team full of scrubs.
Uh-huh.
He didn't need the team with Indiana. You can give him lesser players than what was on Indiana, and he's gonna lead them boys. He's that type of player. He's to me, he's a not he was a
Wasn't
notch.
he on a Magic team though with Turkoglu and Rashard Lewis?
Didn't he have Yao Ming in
And
Houston?
yeah,
Sorry, Yao Ming in
Yeah.
Houston.
I would say T Mac arguably had better teams than Paul George. But we're not talking about teams here. We're talking about the player themselves.
Exactly.
Players at their peaks too.
And
At their
as a
peak.
player at their
Okay, and
peak, okay, so Javo, to your point, yes, Paul George has a higher free throw percentage, but that's also because he doesn't go to the line nearly as much as T Mac did. T Mac is yes, T Mac because T Mac would drive the ball. T Mac is
Yeah.
a much better offensive weapon. He's a much
Way
better
better.
offensive player. Yes,
Way
I will give Paul George the edge in defense. T Mac is a lot better defender than he gets credit for. He's not great, but he's not he's not a liability on defense either.
Yeah.
You know, Paul George is definitely a much better defensive player for sure. But yeah, overall, no, T Mac by far. T Mac, low key, like he's just like I feel the thing about T Mac is like people don't really understand because if you didn't watch him and you didn't watch him like actually play live, like highlights aren't the same as watching someone actually play.
Yeah.
And the thing about T Mac was he was always like low key a lot better than he appeared. He's a much better shooter than he gets credit for. He's a much better scorer. Like, yeah, no, I mean, I would definitely say T Mac over Paul George.
okay, but so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, right? When it all came down to when it mattered, as you guys may know, I'm probably gonna know where I'm going with this. When it all came down to when it mattered in the playoffs, who had the better playoff performances? Who was going deeper in the playoffs every single year?
He had
Was
a better team.
Isn't T Mac consistently known as a first round exit?
They
Yeah,
had
but
a
didn't
better
Paul George
team.
not show up in the playoffs
They had a
consistently?
better team.
Paul George is also the same guy who battled LeBron to
Didn't he
game.
get the nickname Pandemic P because he didn't
Okay,
show
but
up?
you're talking about what he did in OKC. Let's talk about what he did in Indiana. Paul George was consistently out here battling pound for pound.
I already touched on that. That they were never going to be that. Yeah, they were a scrappy team, but they were never going to be a championship team.
But Zach, that's not the point. Neither was T Mac. What was
Because
T against good teams?
Yeah, but we're not talking about the
T-Mac
team.
against
We're
the best
talking about the player here. We're not talking about the team. We're talking
But what
about
they
the
do in the
individual
playoffs
players.
elevates your career.
And as an individual player, Team Tracy McGrady is better than Paul George.
How though? Paul George is probably not as like he's right there in terms of athleticism. He's a better defender. He is a better shooter.
Paul George is not a Hall of Famer.
Much better. He scores on all three levels at a higher rate than T Mac would. He's a better 3-point shooter. He could finish just as well. Better free throw shooter. Better mid range shooter. Like, come on. Let's
T Mac was a better one-on-one player. Period. He was a better. He had better offensive moves than Paul George has. Way better offensive moves. He can get to the rack, the cup way easier. If you notice, Paul George settles for a lot of jump shots because he's not getting to the hole like that.
He could
get to the hole like that.
Go to the hole. He could go to the hole.
Oh no, listen, he can get to the hole, but what I'm saying is he settles for a lot of jump shots because he ain't getting to the hole like T-Mac. T-Mac is gonna go all the way to the hole
why would T-Mac
and get you a dunk, get you a layup. He's not settling. T-Mac not settling. T-Mac was a lot quicker than Paul George was.
Put it this way, Javo. T-Mac was a superstar when he played. Paul George is not a superstar.
Superstar with first round exits. Come on, guys.
Paul George is an all-star to me. Like I said, it's levels. It's
there's
levels
ever
to
that
this shit.
them team,
Tracy McGrady's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. It's
I
levels.
don't think Paul George will reach Hall of Fame level.
was never.
Paul George is great. Paul George is a good player, very good player, a lot better than a lot better than a lot of guys. I would definitely take Paul George over Tobias Harris.
What? No,
I'd probably take Max Strus over
that is
Tobias Harris. To be honest, I'd probably take anyone over Tobias Harris. To be honest with you,
I'm taking Duncan Robinson over Tobias.
I'm taking fucking Ball over Tobias Harris. I'll take Ball and Taco Fall over Tobias Harris.
We're not going to sit here standing Tobias Harris. Okay.
All right. I mean, so yeah, I guess this one goes to T Mac, but
man. Listen, T Mac,
man.
T Mac was a superstar, man.
Yeah, Jabo, I think you was too young to appreciate watching T Mac when he played. Once he left Toronto and he was with Orlando, that's when you seen T Mac raise his. I mean, he went from like a below average player to a superstar.
And that superstar did nothing with his career.
How?
He had all the chance in the world, despite his age. He had a lot of opportunities to do something in the playoffs. And
his team wasn't. His team. Listen, that Indiana team was better than any team that T-Mac played on. I'm sorry.
Not if your team is better.
Sorry.
If you get the job, it's all about getting the job done. T-Mac.
Listen, T-Mac.
We're not talking about teams.
I'm going as far as this to say this. That year they was up 2. What was that? They was up 2-1 versus Miami. If T-Mac on that team, they beat Miami.
I don't think so.
Listen, T-Mac's that good. They beat Miami. T-Mac was that good.
T-Mac can't even get past. T-Mac can't even get the past the Spurs.
Yeah, T-Mac was great, man.
Yeah,
not great enough.
You're comparing a star to a superstar.
Yeah,
I'm comparing a regular season performer to a guy who proved himself in the playoffs.
I'm comparing the eye test.
The eye test.
I watched both.
The eye test shows you Paul George. Does Paul George got more accolades? What team Mac do besides being an All-Star? What is he? He's nothing. He's just a scoring champ.
Scoring champ says a lot.
Listen, he's so good that Kobe said he's the T Mac is 6'6" version of me. That's all. That's the biggest thing T Mac will ever be known for. Kobe saying he's a 6'6" version of him. That
should let you know something though. That should let you know something right there.
Paul George's biggest thing is that the fact that he was a top 3 MVP in the MVP.
But Paul George got knocks on him. Paul George has plenty of knocks on him. He don't get it done.
Does T-Mac get even close to what Paul George is doing in playoffs though?
At least T-Mac put on a show out there.
Graciously.
Listen, T-Mac has never been known for not showing up in the big game. Paul George has. T-Mac has never been known for
George had both. He showed up and he hasn't showed up. That's the coin of Paul George. He shows up one time, he don't show up the other time. At least he shows up. He plays more games in the playoffs. T-Mac only sees like 4 or 5 games. Bye.
Man, T-Mac.
What am I gonna do with 4 or 5 game superstar?
T-Mac era was a lot different. It was a lot more boys. Listen, it was.
You're trying to talk about the team and we're comparing individuals, and you're over here talking about the team.
It was listen, it was Kobe and Shaq in those days, buddy.
Yeah, trust me. It was Kobe and Shaq in those days. The game was much different back then too. T-Mac's a legend in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't go as far to say he's better than Vince, but yeah, he's definitely in his own right. He's an all-time great in his own right.
Zach.
Not better than Vince. Jay.
Listen.
Vince is the better cousin.
They're both great.
Listen, he better than Vince. I'm sorry. He better than Vince.
In what world?
He better than Vince.
They're on the same team. Vince was a better
That'll be a conversation for another day.
When he left Toronto, ask Vince what happened once he left Toronto. What did Vince do? What did Vince do?
Went to the finals. What did T-Mac do?
Not when he left.
Losing the first round?
No. When Tracy McGrady first left that Raptors team, what did they do after that?
What did the Raptors do after that?
Huh?
You asked what the Raptors team do after that?
Yeah.
I can't tell you. I wasn't there. I was
Okay,
like
nothing,
5'4". I don't know.
nothing.
I don't know what they did.
Vince wasn't talking about that when he left.
But all Tracy was talking about was first round and back on vacation.
All right, let's move on to the other verses.
Yeah, I don't know who made this one, but this is a weird one. But
I
James
did.
Harden
Me and
versus
Java was arguing. Well, actually,
they.
Java, I made the statement.
I brought up the top because I saw a
It's
post on Twitter.
just to me, it's a weird one. They're both all time greats. To me, it's just who do you rank higher? I guess
That's
like
the conversation.
for this one, but their games outside of being a dynamic, both being dynamic scorers, their games are vastly different. But anyways, it's James Harden versus Allen Iverson.
Zach,
All right,
don't disappoint
who
me.
wants to go first?
Don't disappoint me.
Who wants to go first? Javo, go first.
You want me to
Don't
go
disappoint.
first?
Yes,
Don't
go
disappoint.
first.
Okay. Well, I,
Yeah, put up your argument for Harden. I want to hear this.
you guys gonna hate me, but I'm gonna have to go with James Harden for almost the same reason why I chose Paul George over T Mac. Is you could say that Allen Iverson went to the finals with that 76ers roster, right? He was doing so good. Take that one game from Kobe and Shaq, but that's all he did. One finals appearance. Everything that is what he played like 5 games, 4 games. He probably went to second round, third round twice. Like what he do? James Harden has consistently been to the playoffs way more than Allen Iverson. In fact, he played in much more games in the playoffs than Iverson. In fact, Harden is I'll say I'll go as far as say he's a better scorer. He's a better shooter, 3-point shooter. What Iverson is a better defender, depending on what you call defense.
Java, you too young for AI saying this shit.
Let's look at the facts. James Harden does more for his team than Iverson did for his team, and it showed in the playoffs. It showed. Even though Harden is virtually known as a playoff joker, it does look at what he done. Look at what he did to get to where he was. What did Iverson really do besides go to the finals one time? What
I'll
did
tell
he?
you what. I'm gonna tell you what AI did. Number one, AI was won the scoring title. I don't know how many years. AI was one of the most feared players, maybe his whole career. Number two, Allen Iverson never played with another superstar or another all-star ever
Carmelo Anthony.
He
until
played
he
with
left. No,
Carmelo.
listen, until he left. But that was the back half of his career. Come on now. I'm talking about in his
It still
prime.
happened.
He never played with another all-star ever. He never played with anybody. He played with me, you, and Zach as his teammates. Basically, if you want to, Eric
Must have a
Snow,
really good
What
team.
about Elton
Tyrone
Brand?
Hill,
What about Elton Brand? He played with a young Elton Brand.
Elton Brand. Come on, man. We're
He
not.
played with Big Z.
Come on, come on, man. No, he didn't play with Big Z. He played. They had Matt Geiger when he was there.
Oh,
Remember Tyrone Hill, Matt Geiger, Eric Snow. Yeah,
I know it.
that was who the center was.
No, they had Big Z too for a little bit.
Z played for the Cavs.
No, Z started as the 76er
They
for a
had Matt
very
Geiger.
long time.
They had.
Zdrunas Ilgauskas played for the 76ers for a very
Well, I'm
long
talking
time.
about the year. I'm talking about the year they went. I'm talking about the year they went to the finals. They had Matt Geiger as their center, and Tyrone Hill, Eric Snow. These are
Jay, to your
bench
point though,
players.
Dikembe Mutombo.
Yes, these are bench players though. The
Dikembe
Dikembe
Mutombo's not
Mutombo
a
was
bench
way
player.
out of here. The Dikembe Mutombo was on his last leg.
Jay, to your
but,
point about the scoring part,
but listen.
He has four.
They changed. Listen,
four scoring titles.
they changed. They made him. They took his crossover away from him because he was making motherfuckers fall. He made Jordan fall. Come on now. Come on. That's how great he was. He changed.
That's all he's gonna get. He's getting a
Listen,
tap from
he
me.
changed. Listen,
Getting a
he
tap from me.
changed the NBA when he came through there. Harden never did that. Harden has never
Isn't
changed.
Harden the reason why they start doing all these foul calls?
No,
Oh no, Harden. Oh,
no,
was that old Harden?
no. Harden has played with KD, Westbrook. Harden has played with
22, 22, 23.
Chris Paul. Harden has played with Kyrie, KD. He's played with Embiid, and can't even make a finals. Can't even make it to the finals.
One time finals appearance, guys. One.
But I'm saying though, that just shows you how great. I mean, how
What
you
did
going to
he
make
do after
listen?
that?
All right.
That just shows you the
He
greatness of Allen
dropped off
Iverson.
after
I made
that.
it to the finals. I made it to the finals with guys that started that
Didn't
if they
James
were
Harden go to
on
the
any
finals?
other team would be on the bench.
Didn't
Eric
Yeah,
James
Bell
I
Harden
was
go to
not
the
on the
understand.
finals
bench
though?
Okay.
on any other team.
All right.
It
So
doesn't matter who you go with.
let me
It
chime in
doesn't matter
here.
what happened.
No, serious. Eric Lynch. That was a shooting guard. I mean, small forward.
Let me
Eric Lynch.
cool things
Those are
down.
bench players. He's playing with bench
Let me
players.
hey
Take him to the
hey
finals.
hey, let me cool things down here. All right. So obviously we got Javo for Harden, we got Jay for AI. I will say Javo actually did give me a little bit more of a factual breakdown other than you. I mean, I get it. As someone who's watched both players,
Listen, you ask
I
anybody
love
back. You ask
I love
anybody
both of
back
them.
then who was the most feared when Allen Iverson came in the NBA.
Yeah,
You ask
not
any of those players who
1996
was the most
anymore.
feared player in the league.
This is not 1996 anymore. And hang on. So, anyways, back to what I was saying. Yeah. So, as someone who's watched both James Harden and Allen Iverson, like I grew up, growing up watching Allen Iverson. I loved Allen Iverson, like his game. He's an all-time great. They're both all-time greats. It, like I said, to me, it's who do I rank as higher, and I would, yeah. I mean, I'm on the James Harden side, to be perfectly honest with you, because look, here's why. Because yes, AI started his career as a point guard, but he was never a true point guard. He
No,
facilitated, but he kind of just turned more into a pure scorer, especially later on in his career. Kind of gave up the
that was him.
facilitating duties. Never really did much outside of scoring. A lot, especially like towards his later in his career. Allen Iverson was great, and for the size, if Allen
For
Iverson
his
was like,
size,
if Allen Iverson was the size, yes,
defensively, he was good for his size. Now you
yeah,
got to give it to him.
absolutely. If he was 6 inches bigger, he'd be, he'd be a lot better. But still, regardless, Allen Iverson was great. But yeah, I mean, to Javo's point, James Harden definitely by far does a lot more. He did a lot more for his team, and he elevated the players around him.
Although, okay,
He
I'll
has
give you
though.
that. I'll give you that. He
James
may have
James Harden
elevated.
has had equally as bad teams as Allen Iverson, and yes, Allen Iverson went to the finals one time and lost, but that was his only conference finals appearance ever in
That's
his
Look at the
career.
team. We're talking
Whereas
about. Look at the
whereas
but
whereas
team,
it
though.
James
don't matter.
Harden, it doesn't matter.
Point.
James Harden has carried pretty much arguably the same Rocket level of Rockets teams
So let
talent
me ask
wise,
y'all both this
two
question before
conference
you finish.
finals,
Before you
numerous
finish
times.
that,
James Harden hasn't won, but I mean, and overall as a player, scorer, like James Harden's a top 10 3-point shooter of all time. But Allen Iverson isn't even in the top 10, you know? Like,
James Harden on that 76ers team, are they even sniffing the playoffs? Be honest. Come on, man. They're not
Us-
sniffing
yes,
the playoffs.
If you're asking, if
yes,
you're asking
They're
me,
not
yes,
sniffing the playoffs.
because no, absolutely, especially because in that era, that era was all about isolation players, and James Harden is an
he would
amazing isolation
thrive.
player. James Harden would
So
thrive in that
so
same
he's
era.
a better isolation player than Allen Iverson?
Yes,
Absolutely,
Oh, wow.
100%. He is a
he
better
gets to the
isolation
line
player.
more.
James Harden is arguably one of the best isolation players of all time.
Wow.
James Harden gets to the line.
May, I need you to for this episode, I need you to put highlights of Allen Iverson and highlights of James Harden. And I want the viewers and I want y'all to see who was the badass. Come on,
Jay,
man. Who was
They're
the
both
better badass?
badasses.
Jay,
James Harden is equally as influential, maybe if not more influential to the game of basketball. Dude, kids go out there trying to be James Harden. Like, yes, kids tried to be AI, but it's like Steph. Like, people
The
want to shoot
answer.
now. Like, kids are shooters. People want to
That's
shoot
from
like
Curry.
Harden. They want to shoot like Luka. They want to shoot like Curry.
That's all from Curry. Allen Iverson was a trendsetter. He came and changed the game. He changed the game of motherfucking basketball when he came through.
And yes, James Harden did play with Kevin Durant and did play with Russell Westbrook, but James Harden was also the third option on those teams
Okay,
and
and we're
wasn't and was a sixth man.
He won the Sixth Man of the Year, and then he didn't. And then he got traded to Houston, and he made a huge leap. He went from being Sixth Man of the Year to scoring 25 a game. Like,
Allen Iverson on that OKC team, they beat Miami.
I don't
No
know.
way.
They beat Miami.
I don't
No
know.
way.
KD, because number one, Allen Iverson started. Allen Iverson's not coming off the bench because Allen Iverson is a bona fide. His rookie year, Allen Iverson came through and showed what he was made of. So
wait,
that's number one.
Wait,
On that OKC,
pound with Dwayne Wade?
huh?
Think AI's gonna pound with Dwayne Wade?
Dwayne Wade
Allen Iverson with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook would have beat LeBron James
No, but
and Dwayne
here's
Wade.
why. Here's why
would
James
have beaten
here's why
LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris
With
Chris
Allen
Bosh.
Iverson, with KD and Russell Westbrook.
But
Yes.
no, but here's why it
No
worked
way.
for OKC. For back
Huh?
then, it was James Harden wasn't as a scorer as he was in Houston, right? So
Yeah,
he was more willing to pass the ball and let Russ go off, right? And if you put Iverson on those teams, Russ just he fades away because he at that point he won't even be the top 2 scorer on that team.
Listen.
Yeah, and I mean, and the thing was, dude, Harden won an MVP award too, and he's been a top 3 MVP candidate numerous times. There's arguably a couple seasons that he should have won MVP, and other people got it. One of the years Steph won it, it was arguably Harden could have won that MVP too, you know. So I mean, definitely. I mean, look at this. Like Harden averaged 30 points a game one year. I think it was like 36
He was
points.
like 35, 36.
And go look at
It was like 36 point something for the year in 78 games. He averaged that with 10 assists and like
the Kobe
and
year.
like 9 rebounds. Like
Kobe
it
year.
was it's just like I don't know. I never see AI on all his greatness. Like you just don't see him playing on that level. AI to me is more of a scorer. AI is a great one of the best scorers of all time, but AI doesn't do much else other than score. Like especially most of his career, like he started his career as a point guard, but he kind of switched to being more of a shooting guard and kind of stopped facilitating the ball and just wanted to be the scorer.
This AI.
Jay,
AI.
Jay, Jay, I'm gonna give you something, and I'm gonna have you choose. You rather have a guy who gives you 31, 5, and 4, or a guy who gives you 33 plus.
You listen.
He gives you 10, 11 assists. He'll give you 6, 7 rebounds.
You right, but if I say, I go off the eye test. A guy with the skill set of a guy like Allen Iverson, you better ask John Thompson about Allen Iverson. God rest his soul. But anyways, a guy, if I'm watching Allen Iverson and I'm watching James Harden, I don't care about it. I don't care about anything else because I know this guy is that special that he don't need to be all the facilitator and all that James Harden is. This guy is that special that he can take over a game by himself.
James Harden take over games.
Give him help. If you gave Allen Iverson one All-Star in his career with the 76ers, he's winning at least one final.
But
he's
Jay,
winning at least one. He's that great.
What if?
He's that great.
About what they've done. This is what if.
Listen, I'm talking about.
Listen, All-Star teammate.
We're talking about what they've done because Harden had played on way better teams than Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson has never. If I'm playing on a team, with a bunch of bench players, you damn right I'm taking all the shots. I'm taking every single shot. Because when I pass these guys the ball, they're either passing it back to me or they don't know what to do with it. They're bench players. Eric Snow, who name somebody that's better that you would pick over Eric Snow. I mean that you would rather have Eric Snow. Come on, man. That's a bench player. You would start. Who would you start Eric Snow if he was on your team?
What position he plays? I don't
Point
know.
guard. Exactly. Point guard. Exact. Matter of fact, Javo, I want you to go back and look at the 76ers teams and the players that they had when they had Allen Iverson, and you tell me if any of those players are star level or all-star level players.
So with a player like AI, with how dynamic of a scorer he is, you need someone to get him the ball. And Eric Snow is a perfect player for that because he's not going to offensively, he's not going to take any shots away from AI. Wow. So, and he knows he can pass, so he's going to pass the ball. He's going to get the ball to Allen Iverson. Whereas James Harden could create his own shot. James Harden could create shots for his teammates. Allen Iverson wasn't creating shots for his teammates.
because he wasn't playing with anybody.
It doesn't matter. James Harden didn't play with a lot of people for most of his career. It wasn't up until he got Chris Paul in Houston that he really had someone that he played with.
He had KD and he had Westbrook.
Yeah, when he was the third option
when
coming off the bench, he was the equivalent of Tyler Hero then.
Allen Iverson never had to come off the bench.
Hold on,
That's
okay,
all I'm saying. Allen Iverson game was already immaculate.
Okay,
He didn't have
it was
to
a
come
better
off the bench.
opportunity. He also, it was a better
was a
opportunity.
better
He also
player
didn't
coming
have
out of
Russell
college.
Westbrook. He also didn't have another all-time great, in the same draft class as him, drafted on the same team. Like Harden and Westbrook were battling for the point guard position. That's why Harden left. Harden was like, I want to go be the star. And he went and look at the jump Harden made. Harden went from winning sixth man of the year to scoring 25. He averaged, 25, 8, and 7 or something like that?
Allen Iverson? Are y'all kidding me?
Before we move on from this, I just want to get this one point off, right? What AI did for the Sixers was undoubtedly great, but the fact they overachieved. And here's the difference.
Because of him.
Okay,
because of him.
I'm not done though. But here's the difference with James Harden. What James Harden did with the Rockets, they underachieved.
Because of him.
Okay, no.
You see what I'm saying?
When you overachieve,
you're making my point. Making my point.
No, Jay, hold on. When you overachieve with a lower team, they of course they're gonna look better when they do something. When they do one thing really good.
They overachieve because of one man, not because they overachieve as a group. They overachieve because of one person.
But they weren't consistently.
The Rockets underachieved because they had this one guy who was supposed to go all the way and he never did.
And the Sixers with AI weren't consistently a playoff team either.
Listen,
and when they did make the playoffs, they didn't get higher than the 6th seed. Like at their highest, they were the 6th seed. James Harden was carrying that Rockets team to the 2 seed. He got it to the 1. Like they were the 1 seed at one point. They won 64 games. Like,
all I'm saying, you give Allen Iverson Chris Paul. Give Allen Iverson KD.
What Chris Paul gonna do? He'll a playoff choker too. What he gonna do?
Yeah, but Eric Snow, come on, man. That's a massive upgrade over Eric Snow at point guard.
LeBron did fine with Eric Snow. LeBron did just fine with Eric Snow, so it can't be Eric Snow.
Then he did exactly what Allen Iverson did.
Yeah, except he got it done.
Make it to the finals and lost.
Yeah, but he also played a much better. Well, he played the Spurs.
They got swept. Allen Iverson got one.
He got one.
And Braun got rings. And Braun got like 4 rings now. He got
4 rings, 10 straight finals appearances.
When
Allen
Iverson played with, when he was with the 76ers, his whole career, at any point when he was with the Sixers, if he had got any of the caliber players that LeBron had, that Harden had, he would have won. He would have got a.
You don't know that.
Allen Iverson.
You don't know that. That's a hypothetical. You don't know.
He would have won a ring.
That's a hypothetical. You don't know that. That never happened. We don't know if that would happen, even if it, So that's what I'm saying. You can't really go off that. That's a hypothetical.
This man.
I can say this. When he played with Carmelo in Denver, he was still. Our eyes were still really good.
No, listen. Don't get me wrong. Allen Iverson was still. He was still good. He was not.
When he had when he was second to the better player, what they do?
He was not Allen Iverson. Listen, go back. Listen. Go watch the crossover. Go watch the crossover that they called a carry that they banned. That he made people fall. And even after they banned that crossover,
so did James Harden.
Jay, I would take
James Harden made people fall too.
No, not like Allen Iverson.
Did you see Cam Johnson? When the crossover he put on Cam Johnson and then stepped down and shot the three?
Go look up.
That was cold-blooded.
That was
cold-blooded by James Harden.
Go look up how many times James Harden made people fall in his career versus Allen Iverson in his career.
Okay,
well, to wrap this conversation up, because it's just we're just talking in circles at this point.
Hey, I want the fans.
Let's wrap this one up then.
But still, they're both all-time greats. Like both of them.
some of the greatest shooting guards to ever play the game. Both of them definitely top 10 shooting guards. I would put Harden higher on that list than Allen Iverson, but they're both definitely all-time greats. So that's how I see it. Like I said, I've given my reasons for why I say Harden over Iverson too. I'm not going to repeat them, but yeah,
We're gonna see what everybody else thinks.
A decade-long playoff performer versus like 6-7 years. I'll take it.
But I'm using that as a reference of the greatness. He had way more years than just that one.
Really?
you only went to the Eastern Conference Finals at one time and never made it past the second round any other year, and they were never higher. At their highest, they were the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, in a weaker Eastern Conference during that time too. Whereas James Harden got the Rockets to the 2 seed and the 1 seed and 64 wins
and never ever been to an NBA Finals except when he was with OKC on the bench when he didn't even matter.
He did matter. He was getting 30 minutes.
He was the 6th man of the year that
he was getting 30. He was playing those clutch moments with Westbrook and KD.
He wasn't the reason what I'm saying is he wasn't the reason that they made it to the finals. It wasn't James Harden.
He was the third option then.
Plus KD.
You're comparing fucking. That's like comparing a developing player to fucking like a superstar. Like James Harden wasn't James Harden then. James Harden wasn't James Harden until he finally was on his own in Houston.
And AI has always been AI. AI has never had to.
It was different situations.
AI has never had to develop his game, and he always been an elite from the Georgetown. So. All right.
But yeah, anyways, to just briefly, to why don't we touch on what do you think? What do you think is going to happen with Russell Westbrook? You think the Lakers got to trade him?
He's out.
Or you think they're going to keep him?
He's out.
What are they going to get from him? I don't know what the Lakers could find for Russ. Listen, I love Russ, but
he's owed a lot of money too, so he's got a contract.
He's out. It's a business. He's out. It's a business, and it's also on a LeBron team. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna figure out a way to get him out. I'm pretty sure.
But what are they gonna get?
Trying to find a new coach.
They hired Darvin Ham.
Yeah, that was kind of I didn't understand that.
So what are they get? So if they trade Westbrook, what are they gonna get for him?
The best thing I heard, they were going to trade him to the Hornets for, I don't know. I heard Gordon Hayward or Terry Rozier. Something like that.
I haven't really heard anything, but I just know that he won't be with the Lakers.
See, I think he's gonna stick. I think the Lakers are kind of stuck with him. I don't think if they trade him, it wouldn't be till before the deadline, because his contract will be expiring then. But Westbrook still has gas in the tank. Westbrook is not washed up by any means.
He's way better than what people are saying.
He's on a bad team. He's on the wrong team.
He didn't fit in the scheme that Los Angeles wanted. However,
there's no scheme to fit in.
With that said, Russell Westbrook is kind of a hard player to fit into a scheme, but I think they can figure it out, because Russell Westbrook is the type of player that has no problem being the second or third option on a team. So he could work, he can facilitate and more so take more of the scoring responsibility off and save himself, save his energy, save his body too, by not having to use his athleticism. If he can do that, if the Lakers could figure out a way to do that, and if they can get him to move without the ball, that will help too, because he doesn't move without the ball.
But that was going to help you.
But I mean, that's a big if. But honestly, I just don't see how they can trade him, especially with that contract. Like, knowing it's an expiring contract, like a team's going to have to be like, okay, we're gonna want to re-sign him. So I think their best option is to wait till the season starts. We'll see if he can flash, like, oh, hey, he still got it. He still has gas in the tank. He's still Russell Westbrook. He can still help a team win and be successful. And then I think that will, make a team want to move at the deadline. But I think right now it's going to be hard for LA to trade him, unless there's some team that's like, yeah, we want Westbrook. Like, unless some team's just like, yeah. So I really don't see right now that they could move him, but
I mean, going back to what you were saying about him not moving with the ball, that has a lot to do with him not being comfortable shooting because he can't. I mean, he's a very streaky shooter too.
he can still though. He can still even
Yeah, yeah,
even
but when
without
you're playing
shooting,
off
he can still move. He can still have off ball movement
yeah,
and
yeah,
create space for his teammates. Move defenders around and still do that.
But Russ doesn't do that though.
yeah,
He
but a
doesn't
lot
do
of
that, even
times,
if he's not doing it
but
for
with
shooting.
the
Because he's not the best shooter.
yeah, but
He
I
never
was
has
gonna say a
been. He's
lot
never
of times,
will
and
be.
also in their offense, the way they run their offense, they need more shooters. They need more shooters. They can't have Westbrook could be better but Westbrook could be better around a bunch of shooters. If you
Yeah,
surround Westbrook with a bunch of guys that can shoot the basketball, he'll be perfect. But because
yeah. Because
Lakers don't have a
he
lot
can
of
just
guys that can
slash.
shoot
He
it,
can slash, and then he can slash and dish the ball out to the shooters. And
yeah,
he can take the inside the buckets. He needs a true big. Give him
yeah, yeah,
a true big man and shooters. Yeah,
yeah.
but I mean, that's kind of what the Lakers have. They have a true big man in Anthony Davis, and
They
they
don't got
have the
no
rest of their team are shooters. Like they
You
can
don't know
shoot.
if you want to play the 5 or the 4. You don't know.
they don't got no shooters.
They, eh,
Because
I mean,
when you got LeBron, AD, and Westbrook on the floor, there's no shooters.
No, but
Because
Jay, to that point, the thing with Russ that I think a lot of people are forgetting is Russ was the only healthy guy out of those three. If your third best player is your most
yeah,
healthy guy, then that's a
yeah.
problem.
And
LeBron missed half the season. AD missed half the season. Like,
I was gonna say, and a lot of that has to do a lot of the Lakers not making the playoffs. Like people want to say, oh, they can't play together. If AD was healthy and there the whole year, they would have made the playoffs. I don't care what nobody says.
yeah,
They would have been in the
absolutely,
they were on track.
playoffs.
absolutely,
They would have been in there. So yeah,
absolutely. Because it
yeah,
also would have kept LeBron to stay healthier because he would have had to do less because
exactly.
AD was there, so he wouldn't have had to do so much at
Yeah,
his age because he can't. So it definitely would have helped them. And
yeah,
I think that's gonna be the goal. And I think Russ helps them do that, honestly, because I think like I said, Russ is still Russ, so he can still take pressure off LeBron and AD and keep
but
them healthier and keep them in games longer, which
but
I
I'm
think
gonna
will
tell you
help.
like this. I'm gonna tell you like this. With him saying that he doesn't want to play with them,
Did
and the
he say that?
way, huh?
Did he say that?
Yeah.
He said
He
it.
said
In
he requested a trade. If I read it correctly, he requested to be traded. And so what I
I
was going,
sometimes they make up a lot of stuff in those
you
articles.
right,
I
you
don't know.
right. But what I was gonna say, if that's true to that point, if that's true, I think he's gone. Especially with the fact that they're in the win now mode, and LeBron, you know what I'm saying, with LeBron already getting up there with only like a year or two left that he wants to play anyway. I think that they're gonna find if you know how the NBA they're
Yeah,
gonna
but
figure
who
something
are they
out,
going to
especially
trade
the
him
Lakers
for?
organization. They're gonna figure something out to
Who
get
are
him
they going to
to
trade
get
him
him
for?
away. No, I'm just saying I don't know, but I'm just saying just me knowing how things work and how LeBron's pool is in the NBA. If he wants out, they're gonna figure something out, even if it's like something behind the scenes that we're not even aware of that happens. You know what I mean?
I
Something's
mean,
gonna
we'll
happen to where
see.
he's not there.
I haven't heard anything about him wanting a trade or requesting a trade, at
Yeah.
least not from a credible source. So,
Okay. Okay. Maybe I was scrolling through motherfucking Facebook and seeing that or whatever. But yeah, I thought I seen
there's
it
there's a lot of stuff out there. I mean, I could be wrong too.
somewhere.
I've checked up on that, but I haven't seen anything about that.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think they can definitely make it work. I just don't see right at this point in time, especially during the offseason, what you trade Russ for.
Yeah.
Especially like they only have one tradable draft pick, first round pick in 2027. And they're trying to hang on to that. I feel they like if they're going to trade Russ now, they're going to have to give that up and Russell Westbrook. And then the question is, what can you get for that? And I guess it all depends on how teams feel about Russ and is he going to re-sign with them too? Because are you going to pay Russ $47 million for 1 year?
Yeah.
Like so there's a lot of questions with that. I think it's better for them to wait. I think if he does get traded, it'll be the deadline, but by then things could change and he could work.
he is the type that has no problem taking the back seat, and he can just facilitate the ball and score when he needs to. Obviously he's still going to get his score, but he can go. He can do 50. He can be a 15 and 10 guy, consistently and be happy and be fine.
I like the
Funny you
line.
said that. He was an 18 and a half, 7-7 guy. This
I
year.
like the lineup when they had LeBron at center. That's what I like. That lineup.
You
Yeah.
like that lineup?
The lineup when they had
So
LeBron at
it'll
center.
be interesting to see. And then now, do you think James Harden stays in Philly?
James Harden, he get on my nerves
I
now.
don't know what he doing.
I mean, he said,
I'm
hey, I
trading him
see
on
what
Sleeper
he
now.
basically
I'm sick
came
of it.
out and said, hey, I see what everyone's saying, but stay tuned because I'm back. Like, he's like, I was tired.
Didn't he
He's
say
like,
that
I
in
was
Brooklyn?
tired and took
About
some
Brooklyn
time
as well?
off, but I'm back now. So apparently
Didn't he
he's
say
going
that
to
last
be
year for
back to
Brooklyn?
being James Harden. So we'll see. I mean, I have seen a few reputable people say that James Harden, like, with how bad he looked, especially towards the end of the year, he looked like intentionally bad. Like, he's kind of too good to be that bad, and it looked like he was trying to be that bad. Like, he did that to get out of Houston, he did to get out of Brooklyn. So I mean, we'll see if he stays in Philly.
He looks out of shape to me. He just don't look as quick. He just don't look as quick and as explosive as he used to.
I mean, like I said, we'll see because that's what he said basically in a nutshell was that, yeah, hey, I'm coming back. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be back. I was tired, I was fatigued,
Out of shape.
but I'm back. Yeah, so I mean, so we'll see what happens with James Harden if he returns, comes back and balls out and returns back to an MVP level. I mean,
I'll say
so
this.
when he came to
go out
Brooklyn,
and say
when
that
he came to
they don't need
Brooklyn,
one
though,
to be
I
that
will
guy.
say he was forced. He kind of adapted very well to what the role was. He had a very different role. Like in Houston, he was the guy. He had to do kind of everything. He had to score. He had to
Simmons
facilitate.
is coming.
Whereas in Brooklyn, he didn't have to score. He had KD. He had Kyrie. His scoring numbers went down, but his assist numbers went way up in Brooklyn. So I think he adapted his game, and so I think now it'll be interesting to see how he does in Philly.
Simmons is coming.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting thing too to see how Ben Simmons works with Kyrie and KD.
I think it works out fine.
Oh, he's coming. Listen. Ben Simmons is too great of a player to when he comes back. He's gonna change that team. He's gonna change it.
What if Kyrie leaves?
No, Kyrie ain't going nowhere. KD ain't going nowhere.
How do you know?
Where are you going?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Where
What
Kyrie
if Kyrie
going?
goes to LA?
Nah,
Why would he do? Come on.
he ain't. He ain't doing that.
What if
Let's
the
be
Nets
realistic.
trade Kyrie to LA?
I will say this: the Nets need more depth because they ain't got no depth. They don't have Joe Harris coming back, so I guess they'll be all right.
Well, I mean, the Nets are a peculiar case. Because listen, I'm so mad they gave away Jerry Allen when they had to keep niggas Claxton. That should have been the other way around, if we're being honest.
Listen, KD, I don't know, man. I don't know if Brooklyn's gonna win it with KD after what I seen Boston do to him.
Listen, they could have next year. They didn't have Ben Simmons that series. They could have Ben Simmons.
I don't see it. I don't know. I think Taylor, listen, that baby Mamba. I think that baby Mamba then came out.
But I don't think Taylor would do the same thing if Ben Simmons was on the court. I don't.
If who?
If Ben Simmons was on the court, I don't think Tatum would do the same
Ben
thing.
Simmons?
Yeah.
That's a different series.
It is a different series. Because you're adding a guy who was in the running for Defensive Player of the Year.
The Bucks
I mean,
in the final if Middleton's there.
That's a hypothetical that didn't happen. So
the Bucks,
we just won't know.
The Bucks would have been in the finals if Middleton was there, but that's for another day.
The Bucks would have been in the finals if Middleton was there. That's funny.
That also didn't. Conversation for another day.
That's also another hypothetical. Facts of the matter is the Boston Celtics are in the finals and going to beat the Golden State Warriors.
That I can agree on. I agree with you on that, Zach.
Who? All right, fellas.
That fool?
Yeah. That's the end of another good show, y'all. Take us home, Zach.
Take us home.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, as always, from us at the Dynasty Show to you and yours, have a great night. Have we enjoy having you and watch us. We hope you enjoy us too. Like, comment, subscribe, all that. Comment on any of the verses, what you feel with the opinion.
Yeah, let us know.
Anything
Let us
like
know
that.
about.
Let us know if there's anything you want us to
Please, guys,
talk about
just
later.
vote Paul George. Vote
I
Paul
need the
George.
people to tell y'all about Allen Iverson. People, tell them about Allen. Please tell these guys about Allen Iverson.
They'll be on YouTube, so they can watch it. They
Yeah,
can
vote
scroll
on
to other Allen Iverson
upload polls
videos
on
after
YouTube.
ours. But yeah. So, anyways, yeah. As always, have a good night and stay tuned for more.
Rock, 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 right along the track, boy.